Good Wednesday evening, and welcome to This and That, the podcast. I'm your host, Joe Gilloway, and along with my partner, Bill Bostic, we hope to bring you guests and topics you'll find fun and captivating from the worlds of local politics, arts and leisure, pop culture, and beyond. I'd like to thank our sponsors before we go any further, and they are the American Legion Post 272 on North Mountain Road, Team PA, AAU Basketball, and Rickabaz Electric. Thanks to these great local businesses for their continued support of This and That, the podcast. Bill, how are you today?
Doing fine, Joe. A lot news is picking up locally, so I have plenty to do with Lingostown Gazette.
Lingostown Gazette is busy and working hard for the people.
Yeah, I picked up a new project within the last week with a giant-sized development proposal. It sounds like there's still problems at Hodges Heights with their.
There is. I watched the township. Yeah, there's been product problems at Hodges Heights for decades. So
that's what I understand. I was actually out there today, took some pictures, and got myself familiarized with the area a little bit.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Hodges Heights because I went to East Junior and Central Dauphin Middle School, and the Hodges Heights kids went there.
Okay.
And some of my black friends, that was a neighborhood that it was developed primarily, maybe not developed, inhabited by a lot of black families.
Right.
Were doing well for themselves and wanted to kind of live together in an area that was outside of the city, and most of them moved from the city, and I was friends with a lot of those kids. So that's my familiarity with Hodges Heights. I was hanging out.
Have you been out there lately?
Not lately, no, but I do want to get out and take a look at what
it's being surrounded by new developments.
Okay.
It's sort of sandwiched in between some new stuff. So
right. Okay. So, Bill, I have to ask you, buddy, what episode number is this of This and That? We haven't done this in 2 weeks, so it'd probably be easy.
I'm going to say 26.
Bill, you're off again by one. It's episode 25. Yeah. Okay. That's close, though. And go ahead.
When I think about it, I can't sleep at night because I'm trying to figure out what episode number it is.
I'd prefer that you come in kind of raw, though, and not know. So it's more fun that you're just guessing at it. And we do know that this is the People's Podcast, right?
It's known far and wide, for sure.
Known far and wide as the People's Podcast. And the reason that is because we do have a comments and questions screen or column. And we do get to these viewers when they want to know some things, ask the guests some questions and then it's also the People's Podcast, Bill, because we allow the people, the viewers, to have some input. So if anybody out there is watching this now or plans to or will be watching this, and you have some ideas for topics or guests, please let us know. There's a really good chance that we'll comply and get those people in. Okay, so we are right now no longer sourcing Catherine Scheib. We have her booked. Catherine Kate Scheib. She is running for Lower Paxton Township supervisor, and she's coming in next Thursday, a week from tomorrow night, 10/16, to talk to us about the upcoming her campaign and the upcoming election. And then the two people that we are kind of sourcing now, meaning haven't really nailed them down, but we've talked to them about it. Right. I'll actually give you three names. Laura Kurtz, the Lower Paxton Board of Supervisors chairperson.
Good.
I think she's going to come on. Justin McShane, you've been in contact with local attorney Justin, attorney and a whole lot more from what I hear.
Right.
Like, this is a really awesome guy, and we're going to have him on hopefully in the upcoming weeks. And then John Najim, who is also a Lower Paxton Township supervisor. And again, he's also a candidate. There's only one supervisor that's not a candidate, that's not running this time around. So, and that's
Pamela Thompson.
Correct. So our disclaimer, and then we're going to bring our guests in here, are the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the participants who voice them, Bill, and do not necessarily reflect the positions held by This and That, the podcast, as an entity, Bill or myself, or the sponsors who support the show. So we're clean and clear. We're clear of any liability.
Anyone comes after us, we can just take the fifth.
And we don't have any money either, so don't come after us. You're not getting anything out of us. So let me just I just jotted down a paragraph to try to get into this. We're here to discuss the situation involving, and I'm going to say for our purposes, because we are media members, involving alleged racism and the team's suspension and a local youth football team's suspension. We have a coach and a parent who are connected to the team joining us tonight, who will hopefully be able to help us sift through the confusion over why this team, who are the targets of the racism, were also targeted by the league governing body, which is the Capital Football Association, or the CFA. So this is kind of a situation. I gravitated towards it immediately, Bill. And I thought, you know what? These people deserve a right to have a microphone in front of them and to talk a little bit more about this than what we're seeing. So let's bring them in. Let's start with, how about ladies before gentlemen? And we have...
She's on, Brittany.
Yes,
Brittany
she's
Smith.
not the coach. She's the parent, Brittany Smith.
Parent.
And we're going to add Coach Percy Maple to the stage. Welcome, y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
us. And I do have to use the term. I'm not going to use it all night, but I had to use the term alleged. You guys know, you guys were there, so. But I think you probably understand why I have to kind of go that route. But we're going to hear all about this. And like I said, it took me about a second and a half after reading that first article. I thought, let's give these folks an opportunity to talk.
Where was the article at, Joe? What paper?
Bill, shamefully, I get a lot of my news from Facebook.
Okay, no problem. That's no problem.
It came across my Facebook. Now that's
Okay.
real news. That's, could be Channel 27 or Fox or whatever. It wasn't just some dude hanging out on Facebook. It was an actual news
I think
outlet.
Fox 43 was the one that did you have more than one station come out your way, Percy?
Yeah, Fox 43 got the story out first, and then CBS followed up a couple days later.
Okay.
So, Coach and Ms. Smith are connected to the Seven Sorrows Eagles, and that is it's not just one team. Is it 4 teams? Let's get that. Do you have Smurfs up to midgets?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that's 4 different teams within this one program. And talk about just to let people know who you are and how you're connected to the team. Percy, what's your connection to the team or to the program? Let's say the program.
I'm the head coach of the midget level as well as team president of the organization.
Okay, of the entire organization, right? Okay.
Yes.
All right, and Brittany?
I have a son on the pony team. I'm considered the pony team mom because I'm the mouth of the South. So I'll take care of all the kids and I'll be the one cheering the loudest out there.
We have a nice smile, so there's nothing wrong with you being the mouth of the South. That's for sure. Okay, so
Jeez.
so this is a traditional youth football league, again, Smurfs through midgets. And who is there a broad array of teams that are involved in this? Like, name some of the teams or organizations that are involved in this CFA.
If I remember correctly, there are currently 35 teams.
Oh wow!
The CFA is broken down into it's broken down into 3 conferences. So like the top conference, you have your Harrisburgs, your Stiltons, your Central Penn, which is McDevitt. Our division, which is considered our conference, which is like we're considered the lowest. We got the Boiling Springs, Big Springs, Chambersburg. So it's all around Central PA.
Okay, that's what I figured. That's a big league. That's a real. I think when I played for Paxton, which is like Lower Paxton now. We had about 8 teams. The furthest we went was like the West Shore Vikings. Over in like Camp Hill or Mechanicsburg.
Yeah.
Is Lower Paxton the Colts or whatever? Are they in this?
That was the Lingelstown Colts. Now they're the Central.
Right, Central
Dolphins.
Central Dolphin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are they in the league?
Central Dolphin is, yes.
They
Okay.
might be maybe the second from the top or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, they're in the middle conference.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what we're here to talk about is 2 things. The incident, that kind of kicked all this off, that kind of started this whole situation, and then after that, what happened as a result of that incident, and which has your kids kind of sideline, not playing football right now. So where were you when this happened? Where were you playing? Was it a home game? Was it on the road? I know it involved Boiling Springs, right?
Yeah, it was an away game down at Boiling Springs.
Okay. And had you had any history with that organization?
Yeah, we've been a part of that conference with them since I've been down here. I want to say they've been a part of the same conference every year, and I've been down here since 2012.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So you have history, with okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna cut in Kira. Is it Weira? Kira Weira?
Looks like it.
She says Percy, the best guy ever. So you have at least one fan so far, Percy.
Well, she has no choice but to be a fan. That's my daughter.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
That's okay. That's a good fan to have.
Yeah.
We do try to read these comments and questions and stuff like that. So get the
Got you.
involved. So you've had history with this organization, and what we want to be clear about is it was Boiling Springs that you had the problems with. It's not every person from Boiling Springs, I'm sure. Probably the majority.
Yeah, not every person, no.
Watch their kids play and enjoy themselves. And so how did it get started? The incident itself, how did that start?
So it actually had started the Friday before our game. Boiling Springs High School came to Middletown to play the high school in a football game. And of course, we got our kids at the game watching. Youth kids from Boiling Springs was at the game as well. One particular kid for Boiling Springs on the midget level, which he is a good player, but he was walking around and was telling our players that he was going to intentionally hurt our star player when we came to play them on Sunday. So that kind of set the tone right there before we even played the game to bring, some bad blood to this game. Then, we fast forward to Sunday, and some of the things I wasn't aware of that situation until after the game. Some other things I wasn't aware of is when the kids went to go weigh in, one of our parents talked to Boiling Springs players, like trying to get them hyped, like, hey, y'all ready? We're coming for you. And he didn't say it with no ill intent or anything like that. He's just football talk.
Right.
And right away, the Boiling Springs coach, he took it the wrong way. And what did that guy say to y'all? What was he talking about? I don't want them talking to y'all. Okay. We're like, hey, it's just football. And, he pulled the dad to the side and they talked, and he did apologize. Like, I thought you said something wrong to them.
Right.
So that was pretty much stuff that led up to the game.
Now,
once we got into the game,
had there been any history?
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Other than you guys playing them for all those years? Had there been any history of, let's just say, bad blood or kind of threatening or slurs, stuff like that?
So for me personally, there has been other games at Boiling Springs that put a bad taste in my mouth, to say.
Okay.
If we bounce back to 2021, our team is usually a smaller team where I'm struggling to have a full roster. I might have 14, 15 kids in the past.
Okay. Yeah, it's not a lot.
2021, we went down there to play a game. My quarterback forgot his jersey. I had extra jerseys on me. I gave him a jersey. The coach threw a hissy fit when we were doing weigh-ins to say, oh, that number isn't on your roster. That kid can't play. I'm like, Coach, we got 14 kids. Is it really going to make that much of a difference by his number? You can ask him his name. You know who he is. Yeah, and he refused to let my player play.
That's nitpicking. Yeah. Especially when it involves a child.
So now we go further back, and it was, don't quote me, I want to say maybe 2018. We had a pretty good sized team that year. Leading up to the Boiling Springs game, both teams had been undefeated. Our one player was real good. He won a state championship with Stilton. His name is Marquise Beasley. He was a real great player at the youth level. During the game, he shot through the A gap so quick, he took the handoff from the quarterback, and then he just stood there because he didn't know what to do. He didn't even realize he had the ball. So, the game's over, and me and him, we're talking after the game. I'm like, hey, what was you thinking when you took the ball and you just stood there? Like, what was going through your mind? He's like, Coach, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know I had the ball. Well, but one of the Boiler Springs coaches was walking by as I'm having this conversation with him, and he just starts snapping out, "Oh, you guys, you don't got to be talking bad." I'm like, "Sir, I'm talking to my player. We're not even saying anything negative about you." So those two things, it just sat funny with me, and I never enjoyed going to Boiling Springs.
Right. That's just kind of something you had to do, right? every 2 years, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? Because every other year. Let me bring Brittany in now. Your son plays on the ponies, right? Pony team. Which let the people at home know what's the age group or the age realm for the pony team.
Yeah.
I think you're on a little bit of a delay here.
He's 10, so he's on the lower. This is his first year.
Okay.
He's 10, so this is his first year. But we have like 10, 11, 12-year-olds.
Okay. Now, did any of the incidents involve him directly, or was he able to overhear what was going on out there?
Yes. So, we had handed the ball off to our running back, who is black, and he did get tackled down. Now, my son was a right tackle and was right beside him, and said that when the kid tackled him down, he stood over top of him and said, "Stay down, black boy. Don't get up, monkey." My son immediately looked at the ref, and he was like, "Are you just going to let this happen?" And the ref just told him to go back to the huddle. I don't know if the ref heard it. I can't make that call. But I do know what my son says.
So it was at least reported to the officials. That was kind of my next question I had written here. Did any adults hear the comments, or did the players report it to any adults or the officials?
Yeah.
So they did. Okay. But the officials.
My son, I mean, he said it. I didn't know about it until after.
Okay. And I have seen cases. Go ahead, Coach.
I was going to say, if I could cut in on that,
absolutely.
So we're, just so the context of it is, it's a Sunday game. So the pony level actually plays after the midget level. And it was brought to the attention of the officials during the midget game. So the officials should have already been, aware and trying to listen for this type of behavior.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know how many officials there are. I think there's like 6 in high school. They have the field. Go ahead.
Yeah, youth level during the regular season, there's 4. Okay. And then once we get to the playoffs, they add a 5th one.
Okay. Bill, you want to jump in here? I know you have some questions.
I'm listening intently. I don't have anything to add at the moment.
Okay. All right. Just jump in whenever you like to.
Okay.
So yeah, that was one of the most important things I was wondering is were the officials at least made aware of it? We're not going to say that they had to have heard it the first time. Maybe they didn't, but now they know at this point. So the game played its way out. I don't even care who won or lost. That's not even part of this story. So I'm not even going to ask you that. But were there any interaction after the game? Did the team shake hands?
So for my midgets, if I could go back a little bit,
sure. No,
the report. Yeah, the report of the word being used was around early in the second quarter. Our one player came off the field and he was very upset. And our assistant coach asked him, like, what's going on? He's like, "Coach, they keep calling us the N-word." And that ended up making our coach, he ended up walking out on the field almost to the other team's sideline to complain to the refs about it. The ref said, "Hey, I didn't hear it. We'll listen for it. Get back on your sideline." So then come halftime, the ref called me and my captains, as well as Boiling Springs head coach and their captains out and was saying, "Hey, we got reports that both teams are saying this. Cut it out. It's 0 tolerance. If we hear it, you're gone." Now, fast forward to about the fourth quarter, the ref on our sideline did throw a flag on Boiling Springs on one of their players and gave him a personal foul. And I said to him, I was like, my light keeps turning off. Sorry. I was like, what happened? I'm like, what happened? What did he say? He's like, I can't tell you what he said. Just know he said something to me that I'm not going to repeat. So to me, that throws a red flag. Like, did he just say it again? But they didn't throw this kid out the game.
Mhm.
So now the game's over. You know, we're doing the handshake line. And a couple of my guys were upset because of the situation with the word and refused to shake the hands of the two players that they reported it to.
Okay.
The coach, when me and the coach came face to face, he said, hey, some of your guys didn't shake hands. And I said, well, I don't blame them. You're allowing your kids to call them the N-word. Yeah, no, we didn't say anything like that. And he walked off. So that's when we fast forward to us walking off the field and my one assistant coach being upset, yelling over toward the refs, hey, you guys let this happen. In regards of using the N-word, in regards of rough play causing injuries and whatnot. We're off the field in the quarter in the end zone, and you see the Pony players running on the field. And then all of a sudden the referee and two of the referees come over to us, get in my coach's face, screaming at him, wanting his name. Then he started screaming at me, wanting the coach's name. And I'm like, well, we want your name. Like, you allowed all this to happen. I'm like, sir, can you stop screaming at me? Why are we screaming? Let's talk civil. And he says, oh, you guys are out of here. You guys are getting ejected. So we're like, what's going on here?
You mean from that moment, like saying, get your players off the field and this game's over?
Our game was already over.
But I mean the Ponies now. Was he
He
saying?
well,
that
yeah,
the Ponies couldn't
he
play
wanted
either?
he wanted me and my coach to leave before he would start that game,
Okay, all right.
which we were already on our way out.
Okay.
So then you fast forward from that, we had a couple kids get injured that had to go visit the ambulance. So I didn't fully leave the field. I'm at the ambulance checking on my kids. You had a couple kids from my team go to the concession stand. A couple of the Boiling Springs kids are at the concession stand. And this same coach, he goes up to his kids and say, hey, we don't talk to them people. I'm getting back feed. Y'all hear that too?
I think it's Bill. Was that you?
No, I haven't said anything.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. I heard that feedback. But okay, I think it's over now.
But yeah, but this coach, he looks to his kids and he tells his kids like, hey, we don't talk to them people. And that made a couple of the parents upset. So that, they're asking the coach like, hey, what's that coach's name? We want to report him. And he just starts snapping out and says, get all these fans out of here to security. So, and like, we're like, what's going on here? Yeah, from what I was told, even some of the Boiling Springs parents were looking at our parents and were like, hey, we're sorry. We don't know what's wrong with him tonight.
Right. So now, Brittany, now your son's taking the field, right? After all this, there's bad blood, correct?
I don't think Brittany's hearing us very well.
No, it's frozen.
Yeah, I think ours is delayed.
It's worse than delayed. It's like frozen. I'll tell you what we're going to do, Brittany. I'm going to bump you out altogether. I want you to come back in and I'll bring you back in. Okay? This works a lot of times. All right. This is the only way we're going to be able to. All right. So if she can get back in. Okay. So, Coach Maple, now it's kind of everything's not good at all, right?
Yeah.
As far as the kids were involved and the kids saw the adults acting up a little bit and the adults were angry. So it's just not a good scene for a youth event of any sort. Let's jump forward to what was the league? Who reported to the league about what happened? Was it them or was it Middletown? Was it Boiling Springs?
So the referees made a report. Boiling Springs made a report, but then we also had sent in a report Sunday evening. Now, the league said, I don't think they ever seen our initial report because they're telling us that we didn't report it. And then when we brought it up that we did, we sent something on Sunday. Then the excuse was, oh, what you reported was very vague. We didn't know what to do with that. But one of the commissioners flat out told us, hey, if you ever send an email and we need to know more information about it, we'll reach out to you to ask about it.
Okay.
And like
I
our
do
email
want-
wasn't vague.
I
Go
wanted
ahead.
to mention too. I did reach out to every board member from the CFA. Okay. I didn't hear back.
They don't
from
like the
anyone.
answer.
Shocker.
Yeah, they
Shocker.
don't like to answer anybody.
Okay, I didn't even hear a "we're not interested" go away. They just all ignored me. I think there was about 7 of them altogether. There's like one league
Yeah.
president,
Yeah,
or
something like that.
somebody that's like at the
Mhm.
top, and there's a bunch of them underneath. And
Yeah,
I-
they had a chance to respond to the TV report too that I saw, and they didn't respond to the television station either.
okay,
Or my email.
Yep.
And if you go on their website, they took off the president. She took off her email
Yeah.
so that you can't email her.
yeah, that's not a good thing. Okay, Brittany, we can hear you really well now. Can you hear us?
Yeah, you're moving now.
So
Yeah.
so let's just back up a little bit, because I want to give Brittany an opportunity to kind of talk about what you and your son experienced the day of the game. The ponies came in after the midgets, correct?
Correct.
And then had your son had any understanding or about what had happened in the midget game?
Absolutely not. So
Okay, that's good. That's
we
good.
have, yeah. So we have to be there. They like us to be there like 2 hours before. So our boys, they get to see maybe like the last like 3 minutes of the midgets game. And then they run onto the field, but they had no idea about anything that was going on.
Now, we just touched on that the midget game was kind of turned into a mess. Let's say that, and then
Yeah.
the kind of the what happened after turned into a mess. You know, around the snack bar, the concession stand. How was the pony game itself? Were there any issues during the game?
No, there weren't too many issues during the game that we could see from where we were. You could see some of our players visibly upset coming off the field. They would take their helmet off to get a drink and they would be saying stuff to each other. But you didn't really know what was going on unless you were down there.
Now, is this different than kind of how they're reacting and responding when they're playing other teams? Did they
Yeah.
look a little more irritated, a little more upset, a little more angry than they typically would be?
Yeah, yeah.
So-
My son actually was about to throw his helmet, and I said, "Don't you dare," because that's a no-no. We don't throw helmets.
Good sports
Uh,
mom.
Yeah, so he stopped right away, but I was curious what made him so angry.
Okay, all right. So was there any, when that was all said and done, was there any anything reported about, anything that was said by their team, their players or their coaches?
I'm not quite sure. I knew that I did say something to our coaches, and they said that the midgets were having the same issues and that it was going to be addressed.
Okay. So Percy, let me bring you back in here, Coach Maple.
Yeah.
When were you notified that? Let's say that your team was basically suspended. You weren't kicked out of the league altogether, but you were told that you couldn't continue. Or you tell the viewers, what were you told about how you would have to approach the remainder of the season, and when were you informed of that?
So the very next day, which was September 15th, the commissioner, Nicole Adams, reached out to me, and all the email said was, I want the coaches' names of the midgets that were involved in the accident. So I gave the names. That was that Monday. Then on that Wednesday, which would have been the 17th, I believe, we get an email saying me and my assistant coach are suspended for the remainder of the season, which at that point was 5 games. And then that fans were not allowed into our next 2 home games. So at that point, we had a home game coming up, then an away game, then another home game. It struck me funny because I could tell that procedures weren't followed according to our bylaws.
Did you ask
To
her?
get the
I don't mean
suspension.
to interrupt, but I want to make sure that did you ask her, hey, where did you come up with this?
Well, I end up pressing the issue about, hey, I don't think the bylaws were followed. I think we need to follow the bylaws.
Okay.
And that's when they tried to say, well, you guys didn't report it within the 24 hours. And we're like, well, we sent the email on Sunday. And it was just a whole bunch of back and forth, y'all didn't do this, y'all didn't do that. So I kept pressing the issue about about following the bylaws, and we got an email saying, hey, okay, we'll follow the bylaws. And if the committee overturns the suspension that I issued, then the PIAA is going to conclude your season. So once I heard that, I'm like, something's not adding up. I got a couple friends that are referees. I talked to them. They said, oh, we kind of heard about your situation. Why don't you come to our meeting and talk to the ref so we can get your side of it? So me and my coach, we ended up doing that. And they weren't too happy. The referees weren't too happy about us showing up. But what was relayed to me from the CFA didn't match with what the referees were telling me. You know, the referees were like, hey, we're not the CFA. We can't suspend you. We can't do any of that. That all came from the CFA. So once they told me that, I pressed the issue like, hey, yeah, we want the appeal. I want this done correctly. So in between the initial suspension up until September 29th, we done played 2 other games with PIAA refs. No issues or anything of that sort. We get to September 29th, which is the day of them supposed to follow the bylaws to do the disciplinary action. And they still aren't following the bylaws during the meeting that we had with them.
So you think they were just kind of making stuff up as they went along, right?
Well, so let me go back, because I have an email from the commissioner saying I didn't have time to follow the bylaws. I needed to satisfy the PIAA. And that's that. Like, it's a dictatorship. Like, yeah, we got bylaws, but I'm not going to follow them. I'm going to do what I want to do.
Right.
So you fast forward to the 29th, and the bylaws still aren't being followed. If I could touch on that, our bylaws say that anytime there's disciplinary action, that the head commissioner, 1 assistant, and then the 3 teams that are on the disciplinary board are the ones that are supposed to hear what's going on so they can apply the action. Well, I get on it. We did it over Zoom. They wouldn't even do it face to face. They do everything over Zoom. And we get on, and it's all the commissioners. And I questioned it right away. I'm like, why are all the commissioners on here? It's only supposed to be the head commissioner and 1 assistant. And she says, oh, only 1 assistant will be voting. Everybody else is just listening. Like, that's a complete violation, because now y'all listen, you guys are going to talk, you're going to influence the decision. Like, no, that's wrong. So again, that was on the 29th of September. We got on that about 7 o'clock. By 11 o'clock, it was relayed to me, hey, the suspension that we handed out is upheld, and we're tagging on that the last 3 games of the season is to be forfeited at all levels. So to me, it was a retaliation thing. You're upset because I challenged the system.
So you lost, basically, that's 12 games. Smurfs, Pee-wees, Ponies, Midgets times 3. That's 12 games.
Yep.
They wanted to cancel because of the incident in 1 game.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question. Well, Percy, you mentioned a couple times the PIAA. What role does that agency have in your league? Because since it's not in the high school system here or the school system.
Do they oversee it in some way?
The CFA hires them to be the referees for all our games.
Okay. All right. So that's their role, to provide the referees. You have an agreement with that group. Okay.
Bill, you took that question right out of my mouth, buddy. I was wondering. Well done. I was wondering the exact same thing. Brittany, what is this something that you've had to deal with ever before with your son? I mean, I'm sure you guys had to have kind of like a sit down and and it's painful. It's painful for a kid. It's painful for a parent. What's kind of the message that, and you live in I would call Middletown like an integrated town, I'm not saying that none of this ever goes on down there, but he probably isn't dealing with this kind of stuff when he's at home in Middletown with his white friends, his black friends, they're probably all kind of one, right?
Exactly.
What kind of conversation do you have to have with your son about this stuff?
Well, it was actually funny because I was gonna have the conversation with him and he brought it to me. My son is white. He definitely has a preference for girls. He likes light skinned girls, black girls, girls of color.
Right.
And after this happened, he told me, he said, Mom, I can't believe that they were saying those things. He said, someday my kid is probably going to be mixed. He said, will they have to deal with this as well? I said, Paxton, I said, unfortunately, buddy, if it hasn't changed yet, it's probably never going to fully change. I said, the
Mhm.
only thing that you can do is try your best to love them and just reassure them and tell them that, there are mean people in this world.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
nothing we can do about it. And him and I went and we dug deep. I mean, I went and I looked up things and I seen something that the Washington Post had put out saying that parents of black athletes, um, for youths, especially in football, have had to really sit down with their kids and tell them, hey, you may have to deal with this, this, and that. And I don't feel like they should have to sit down and tell them that. And I don't feel like, especially from another kid their age saying these things, like it's just disgusting.
Yeah, it's the same let's call it the same sit down that parents have had to have with their kids for hundreds. Like this isn't new.
No, not
Okay,
at all.
not at all. I'm 59, and it's the same thing. And I grew up in a very integrated, community, and it's the same conversation that my black friends' parents had to have with them
Yeah.
50 years ago. Let's say that. So now you guys are feeling like you've been victimized twice, I'm sure, right? At this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys got the only team that got a penalty out of it or got any kind of repercussions out of it. I'm sure Boiling Springs, did they get anything out of this?
Nope.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
to be honest with you, we really can't answer that because the league is so hush hush when it comes to any type of penalties. They don't broadcast it throughout the league for other teams to know.
Okay.
Our suspension is the first time I've ever seen that it went out to every team.
yeah.
And technically, it didn't go out to every team because we weren't included in the email. I'm cool with a lot of people on other teams in the league. They showed me the email and said, hey, look, the league said you guys are suspended for the rest of the year.
Yeah, Brianna Page Bennett, she chimed in here just
Yeah.
a few minutes ago. She said they took the Pee Wees playoffs away from them by doing this. So
Yeah,
that's
because the Pee
kind
Wees,
of odd. Bill, you wanted to jump
Yeah.
in, right?
Well, I wanted to ask Percy, whenever you got information about these suspensions, did they give you any rationale as far as why they were doing it, especially taking it down all the way to the Pee-wees? Or it was just this, you're suspended, that's it, see you later type of thing?
that was pretty much it. The best I could get out of them was no fans because of whatever Boiling Springs reported about our fans getting thrown out. And then for me and my coach, it was labeled as disrespect to the refs.
Mm.
And I've been asking for an explanation because how can I move forward and correct our side if I don't know what it is that we actually did?
That's a very good point. Very good question. Yeah. So where do things? I know that what would you like to see happen from this point on? I know we can't go back and you already missed games and the kids are let down. I'm sure they're hurt.
Mhm.
I played sports, and maybe the worst thing you could have done to me is take my games away. And I mean that,
Were you able to get any scrimmages scheduled, Coach?
So for the midget level, we did actually had a game last week with York.
Okay.
Due to some other situations that occurred in the league with other teams. So we had a game at the midget level. This weekend coming up, all 4 levels actually have a game as well. And then the weekend of the 18th is the last weekend for the regular season. The midget level and pony level currently have games scheduled. We're still trying to find one for the Smurfs and Pee-wees.
Are you able to play in the playoffs? Is that true? Are they going to let you
So-
back into the first season?
As of right now, we're allowed, but I'm thinking once week 9 comes and goes, somehow we won't be allowed to play.
Okay.
The midget level is actually we're locked into the playoffs, even with the additional losses that they're giving us. But like you were saying with our Pee Wee level was battling for a spot. So now giving them automatic losses pretty much knocks them out.
That's
Yeah.
rough. That's really rough. Bill, I think I interrupted you. You had another question there, Bill?
No, I think it was covered. I mean, I think we're good.
Now, is there an appeal? Is there an official kind of like, let's get back to like the bylaws. Is there an appeal process in the bylaws? Even though you're not going to be able to restore everything you lost. Do you want to try to take this as far as you can and try to figure out, hey, can we salvage anything here? Can we let these kids know and these parents know that we're trying our hardest and trying to get them as whole as we possibly can?
Yeah, so as far as the appeal process, they pretty much labeled the meeting that they gave me as the appeal.
Oh, okay.
So within the league, there's nothing we can do with the league ourselves as far as that goes. But we do have a couple other things going on that I think will be an eye opener for the league.
Okay. Now,
Yeah, that's the big question. Where do you go from here, and how? Whether you have enough. It sounds like you've been with this league for a long time, Percy, and whether various teams can work together to try and get this kind of scenario taken care of, where maybe it was not going to happen again. That whenever there's a situation like this, that it's handled in a very clear-cut, professional way, instead of this haphazard way that you're describing. I mean, do you have a path to address it in that way, so it doesn't happen again?
Well, so some of the things that I think will occur once the season concludes is you have a group of teams who are very upset with the leadership of the CFA.
Okay.
I know from my perspective, I'd like to see that leadership step down and somebody else step up. But my goal personally for my team is to get my team out of the league. There's a group of teams. Yeah, there's a group of teams in the past that did actually leave the league and started their own league. Unfortunately, it wasn't successful, but I think you get the right people together and, we can start our own league.
Okay.
So
that's
we have Stephanie Brookie Regal chiming in here. Does anybody know Stephanie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's one of our coaches.
Okay. So Stephanie says, we have additional losses. It's a question. What about the teams that didn't have a midget level? That's not a loss?
So that's a great question. This weekend coming up and the past weekend, the teams that we were supposed to play, which was Big Springs and Susquehanna, they don't have a midget level team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's supposed to be an automatic forfeit win for us, but the league decided to give us losses anyway.
Okay. So they're saying that, no, you're suspended, so you don't get a chance to get a win out of this, even though the opposition didn't have a midget team. Okay.
Yep.
Now, let me ask you this. I didn't know if I wanted to bring this up or not, but I will. You're not connected to Seven Sorrows, the church.
We're not affiliated with the church or the school.
At one time you were, and that's why you're called Seven Sorrows, right? You didn't just come up with this name, which is the same like Holy Name used to have a program. I'm sure you're familiar with them. And they became the McDevitt, was it capital area, or they became the McDevitt. So they dropped
Central Penn. Central Penn.
Central Penn, yeah. Thank you. They dropped their Holy Name. You didn't drop Seven Sorrows. You were accustomed to it. I'm just assuming here. You were accustomed to it. You liked the name. You were the Eagles. You had the whole deal. There was no reason for you to drop it, right? And they didn't ask you back then, right? Nobody from their end said, like, you got to drop this name. Were they giving you any pressure, whenever you guys?
So at that point in time when this occurred, I was not a part of the board or anything like that. So I don't know the full 100% story. But from my understanding, at some point, they did ask us to change the name.
Okay.
And from my understanding, we didn't do it because we said it's not copyrighted. We don't have to.
Okay.
We didn't really want to change it.
That's fair enough.
We really didn't want to do it because at that point in time, there was two teams in Middletown. You had Middletown Youth Club, and then you had Seven Sorrows. So the people that were at Seven Sorrows didn't want to get rid of that history.
Okay. And to be clear, they were trying to distance themselves from this situation. Okay. So the Seven Sorrows Middletown Facebook page, they said Seven Stars Catholic Church and school are not affiliated in any way with the football team in town with the same name. You may have seen some news stories recently regarding the organization, and some have used images of our school. This has caused a great confusion recently, but we are not affiliated and blah, blah, blah. With respect, I'm not saying that the rest is blah, 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 but I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It does look like the friar, I think it's Friar, Tim Sod, I think he probably understood that statement may have been a little insensitive, because he did come back and say he had like an updated post and said, my name is Friar Tim Sod. I'm the pastor of Seven Stars. I wrote the above post, so he was responsible for the above post. From talking to some families and seeing some news reports, I know the hurt that all are feeling because of this situation. I know the efforts of our players and cheerleaders, and I've attended several games, and I'm sorry for them. I certainly didn't want to inject us into this, but when the news crew came last night to film from our premises to state that we were involved, it caused confusion and questions from our own community, meaning the church community, as is understandable. We support all of our community, and God bless you. So I'm just assuming if he didn't have an entire change of thought, he might have realized that.
I could tell you where that came from, where the change of thought came from. Our secretary Heather reached out to him, and she actually had a phone call conversation with him, and we got some great understanding between us and them. So that's where the change came from.
And she just chimed in. Hi, Heather. Heather says I spoke to him personally, and that's Friar Tim Sod.
Yeah, we love Heather. Heather's amazing.
Heather, thank you for helping to clear that up. I think Coach Maple was kind of clearing it up right when Heather jumped in here, and then she said she spoke to him personally, and that's why he edited it. So I'm going to credit Friar Sod, SAHD, with coming back in and kind of changing his tune a little bit. That's a tough situation. You want to distance yourself from a situation that you really didn't have anything to do with. But then, like he said, there's children involved. There's people from the community involved. And he kind of backed up a little bit there. And so my hat's off to Friar Sod. So anyway, I think we covered most of it. Is there anything that I'm missing? There's, I want to give each of you, Bill, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump back in as far as the CFA and their leadership. What role, Coach, do you and other leaders of these teams have as far as choosing who is the leader, who the board members that have in this case made this decision that doesn't make a whole lot of sense?
Well, so their bylaws have it. There's no other way for me to say it, but a buddy club. Okay. To become the head commissioner of the CFA, you have to be an assistant commissioner for the previous 3 years or more.
Okay.
To become an assistant, you have to be a team rep for the previous 3 years or more. But the only person who gets voted in is the head commissioner. Okay. Once the head commissioner gets voted in, then the commissioner picks their assistants.
Yeah, I've seen this happen, Joe. Not too long ago, that the Linglestown Baseball Association had some similar things going on. Not so much racial, but just the top guy having a lot of control and sort of. His team always won the championship and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So, I mean, this seems to be something that happens in these youth leagues when they're self-governed. If you have questionable leadership, it can make things tough, and that's what the Seven Sorrows is going through.
What I find questionable, or I don't find it questionable, it is questionable, is that they didn't use the bylaws to address the situation and to dole out the punishment. And I think, I don't even know what I think there. What you have to sometimes do in those situations is kind of exhale and go, listen, everybody's going to have to hold off for 48 hours or 3 days, 2-3 days. Mm-hmm. We need to sort this out. We need to go into the bylaws, and we need to assess the situation properly. And I don't think they did that at all. It doesn't sound like they did that
plus
at all.
They sort of hid themselves from the media, hid themselves from any kind of questioning, and that's that's not very good either.
Now we have Marissa Swope here. I'm gonna, as long as these questions, I don't think they're going to keep coming in, but I'm not going to cut anybody off. Marissa Swope. Does anybody know Marissa Swope? She says,
Yeah, I do.
just a thought to share. The league also allowed the other teams to scrimmage Seven Sorrows. They made the choice to back out. The amount of disappointment I have in Big Spring Football League is immense. I'm disgusted with the coaches because they chose to co-sign the league instead of doing what's right. They shouldn't have went through with the scrimmage. Every team that bailed out should have made a better choice. Children are getting punished, and these other teams are allowing it while simultaneously, and then it just stops there. So
Ran out of room.
yeah, ran out of room. And then Stephanie Brookie Regal says we have no control over it, and I'm not sure what she was referring to there. So, what we want to do, Coach and Brittany, is wish you the best. You know, as you kind of you're trying to muddle through this. Basically, there's no clear path ahead of you, right? You're just trying to keep these kids. Are you at practice now, Coach?
Yeah.
I thought I heard kids. Yeah, you're just trying to keep these kids active, right? Trying to keep them. Are there cheerleaders?
Yes.
Okay, so there's somebody else who's not able to do what they're signed up to do, and what was probably their passion, what they love to do. Yeah,
And Joe, also, some of these kids, this is what keeps them out of trouble or
Right,
keeps them out
absolutely.
of a bad situation at home. This is their getaway,
Yeah,
and now it's taken from them. And we're basically, our kids are looking at us like, so because we stood up against racism, we're getting in trouble for things.
yeah,
Teams don't want to play us because they're scared, because whether the CFA wants to admit it or not, there has been plenty of hush hush, like, hey, I wouldn't play them. They're saying they didn't say that they would do anything to them, but they gave them a clear warning. Hey, I wouldn't play them. There may be repercussions if you do. So
yeah.
everyone's scared, and I understand they don't want to lose their season like we did. And I really think it was kind of a jab at Percy, because Percy will be the first to jump on live and stand up for us. And I don't think they like that. And I think that going forward, we need people on that board that are open to constructive criticism, that can be like, oh, okay, let me self-reflect. Yeah, I didn't follow this bylaw, so I did, my bad, like hold themselves accountable. But instead, they're just like tit for tat with us.
Right. So you have two goals here, I think, to try to get these kids, the football players and the cheerleader, everybody involved through the season in the most fulfilling and whatever way possible you can, to give them what they signed up for, or close to it. And then you have to figure out what you want to do next year. And I know that next year is next year, and your immediate goal is to try to, let these kids have something to do, more than something to do. They probably love this, So Christy Judy Mock says Stephanie Brookie Regal, midgets were given losses for 2 games where the other organization didn't even have a midget team. Not sure how that happens. Rob Mixel, Seven Stars family is one of a kind, and we will continue to stay strong for the kids. Brianna Page Bennett, yes, thank you. These kids do not deserve this. So Bill and I, we just want you to know that, we care about you guys, and we don't do this just for the heck of it. We really don't. We're not looking for ratings. We don't make a dime. We're volunteers. And when we see people or situations in the community that we'd like to help, them get their word out, that's what we're doing here tonight. So I just want to wish you well, and wish the kids well. I want the kids to be able to say, Ms. Smith, Coach Maple, you guys did the best you could for us, and I really, that's all you can do at this point, right? Get up every day and try to figure out how can we salvage this. And I just want you to know, if there's anything else we can do to help you, if we can just, be of assistance, just reach out and to let us know. Okay.
Perfect.
Hey, man, I greatly appreciate y'all giving us a voice, and, for us to get our message out there, man. Greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. So we're going to cut you off or not cut you off. We're gonna lead you back to the green room here, and then Bill and I will finish up. Good.
The other thing, Percy, if you this particular show, if it can in any way help you out, we can make sure you have access to this video. So just let Joe know.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
All
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
have a good night.
Let me just do this because I love to get to all these questions if I can. Sarah Elizabeth Glenn, I am a cheer coach that came over from the MYC organization, and I will say that Percy L. Maple and the SSE board is like no other that I've ever seen. The way that they stand up for our kids is so greatly appreciated. I'm glad we ended with that. We
Yeah.
could have a better ending than that. So thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Percy. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Best wishes for getting through the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Perfect.
All right.
Thanks.
Take
Have a good
care.
Thank
night.
You as well. Bye.
All right, Bill. Nice people there, Bill. We're fortunate, man. We run into a lot of nice people, and I think they have a pretty darn good cause too.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that this stuff happens at the youth level.
Here's
It
my
really
feelings,
is.
and I didn't want to get into my feelings a whole lot. Let's just say that something was mishandled on the Seven Sorrows end, like the way that they reported it, or they were angry. Okay, it's easy when you're angry; something come out of the side of your neck. Let's just say that did occur. Give them their. I don't want to use due process because it's not a court of law, but use the bylaws.
Yeah.
Say, hey, look, this is where we got upset with you guys, Seven Sorrows. Not like we're mad at Seven Sorrows for how they handled this and they're gone. So and without knowing any more, I don't want to get into it too much more, but it just seems like things were probably salvageable. That's the way I feel about it, that they were salvageable. And that's not what the CFA board chose to do. So
Yeah, I think in these situations, the overarching approach should be, let's put the kids first,
right there you go, Bill. You just said it. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Is that the kids need to be placed first, and well put. So thank you to all those people that chimed in, Heather and Christy and Marissa and Brianna, and oh my, there were a few more. Thank you to all these viewers. And Bill, what's going on with Linglestown Gazette? We're going to make that a normal part of our wrap up. Is there anything you want to talk about with Linglestown Gazette?
Well, I guess the biggest things would be with this new development on Wenrick Street, east of Linglestown. Some of the people involved in the project, not township people, but on the developer side, has reached out to me, so I'm going to have a chance to interact with them. And if you go on Linglestown Gazette right now, there's a post saying, if you have any questions, get them to me on my Linglestown Gazette at gmail.com by midnight tomorrow night. It'll be Thursday night, and I'll ask those questions on behalf of our readers. If there's something that I don't have on my list. And the ones that have come in so far are pretty much typical questions. So I'm hoping that some readers come in with some things that I didn't think of, and I can talk to the developer on their behalf just to get some preliminary information.
Okay, Bill, you're doing a bang up job, Bill.
I'm trying.
You really are. You really, really are. I mean, it's hard for you. It's hard to ease back into anything, right?
Right. I didn't ease back into this, man.
Well, yeah, but it kind of, and I probably overuse this term, but it does appear like it's growing organically. Like it's kind of growing at a good pace, a good rate. You're doing the most that you can without really much help at all. You have a family at home that relies on you and a real job, a full-time job. So I just
what's really paying off, Joe, is that this is my fourth attempt, and during those three other attempts, I made a lot of contacts.
Right.
And so those contacts haven't gone away, and they're paying off dividends with the work I put down the first three times. So
we will hopefully you'll have a Linglestown Gazette live this Sunday. No promises though, right?
I had to figure out what we're going to talk about.
There's always stuff to talk about, Bill. It's only Wednesday. So yeah, I enjoyed Linglestown live, and so anyway, I guess that's about it. We have next week we have Catherine Kate Scheib. She's a Lower Paxton Township supervisor
candidate.
Candidate. Yeah, thank you, Bill. And that's Thursday the 16th. And then again, we are sourcing Laura Kurtz, who is an actual supervisor. She's the chairperson. Local attorney Justin McShane. And I don't know. I
Yeah,
think
one thing I was going to suggest to you, maybe as a
Yeah.
closing thought, is that
sure.
for those, we have 8 supervisor candidates. And it looks like we might have 2 or 3 potentially. We have 1 for sure, maybe another couple that might come on. But to put out one final plea, saying, hey, if you don't get back to us by this particular date, we're moving on.
That would be the 3rd. And I agree. I was thinking about that today. I reached out to all of them, all 8 of them. I don't know, a month or so ago, and then I reached out again like a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. So, but they're busy, and so and they're not just dropping everything for Joe and Bill. But that's fair enough. That's a good point, Bill. Thank you.
Sure.
So,
And by the way, when I was in Hodges Heights today, I saw Robin Lindsay walking the street out there. So she is working hard. There's no doubt about that.
I think she's a true public servant, Bill.
Well, she does a lot of things for the community. There's no doubt about that.
I was for 2 or 3 years in a row, I was the kind of the announcer for the first day of Linglestown softball. Everybody meets up. It's like in March or April. It's early in the year and it's cold out, and it's like 8:00 Saturday morning. And Robin would show up, and she would do I don't think they were cutting a ribbon or anything, but she would kind of kick the season off, and show her support and the township support. So yeah, I think, when it comes to being a servant of the people, a true public servant, Robin Lindsay is one of those people. So, all right, Bill, we almost kept it under an hour. That's become my goal. I do try, but I'm not going to cut anything or anybody off just to do that. But good show tonight. Thank you to Brittany Smith and Coach Percy Maple from Seven Sorrows Youth Football. Thank you to all their friends and their supporters who chimed in with great comments, great questions. And thank you once again to our great This and That the podcast sponsors, American Legion Post 272, Team PA AAU Basketball, and Rickabaz Electric. For Bill Bostic, I'm Joe Gilloway. Thanks for chiming in or sitting in tonight with us.
Yep. Have a good night.
Good night.